Hi there, Gemini. Welcome to your October 2025 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. So, I have already done your astrological forecast for October. You can check my channel. I wish I was the kind of person where I've been doing this for 10 years. I've never like put an end cap and all that with the video, what to watch next, and all of that. So I'm just telling you, you can look at my channel for that. But maybe someday, I guess. But anyway, one of the things I want to say about that is that when it's Libra season, like it currently is, even when I'm recording this at the end of September, that's your fifth house, and that's the house of love. So you might find themes of love and creativity that really are big for you in October, at least for the first few months. And also fun, a lot of fun with the fifth house. Oh, it's funny. I got a 5, so that's the synchronicity, but the 5 of Pentacles, I don't know if that's the most fun thing in the world. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick the cards here. So you can see all the cards. The last two cards have spiritual themes. Very interesting, because the heart of the matter is the 5 of Pentacles, and this is a card of feeling down and out. This deck, which is called I think it's called Flower Child Tarot deck, it is pretty faithful to Rider-Waite in general, but in Rider-Waite, they have those people dressed in rags, and they have their back turned to the church. So it can symbolize, and you could even see it here. You can think of the sky as being symbolic of God or the spiritual, and they have their backs to it. And the pentacles relate to money, to material matters. So a person, and they're there, and there are stars in the sky, and they're golden stars. So there's things that you may be turning your back on that can be spiritual riches, or even on the material end, maybe you are thinking that you don't have material thing, you have lack consciousness, when it's not in reality, when you have a lot more than you are acting like you have. And the reason that people are like that, I mean, there are many reasons. It could even be like a past life thing where you literally believe that you're always one step away from a cardboard box or something like that. And those kinds of, when it's irrational because it doesn't reflect what's really happening in your day-to-day reality, that to me is probably a past life influence. But for other people, it can be like a pattern, or what will we call it? Like something that's deeply ingrained in you, because it's almost like you practiced it. You've practiced this sense of, and maybe it comes from childhood. Maybe you had parents who did the same thing and you're just imitating that. Practicing this sense of not having. And it becomes a habit after a while. And not a good habit. Some habits are good, but this wouldn't qualify as a good habit. So it's really important to ask yourself, like, why am I doing this to myself? What is the payoff here for me to feel like I don't have enough? And even if you're kind of low on dough, or the 5 of Pentacles can be, you are unemployed or something, so you're not bringing in money. There's there are certain people who they're like, okay, well, I'm low on money and I am unemployed, but they still maintain a feeling that something is going to work out for them, even if it's in the 11th hour. And there are some people who immediately go into the worst case scenario. So there is a little bit of control there, even if it is more on the negative side. And my feeling is this is something that the central theme isn't something that is going to happen. It's something that is already occurring that you're focused on. So if you're watching this when I first posted on the first day, this is likely something that you're already dealing with. And so you have to ask yourself, why? Why do I immediately go into this? In the past position, we have the Seven of Pentacles, and this is the Farmer's card. This is, you watering, and you see the pentacles are growing. You watering your crops, which can be maybe it's your home business that you have, your online business that you have been putting energy into. That's really what pentacles are, coins. Money is symbolic of energy. Putting money, not putting money necessarily into something, but putting your energy into something, and you're waiting for the payoff. And maybe you're feeling like it's not happening. Oh my gosh, it's not happening. Are you being too impatient? Are you being unrealistic? Are you thinking that it's supposed to just turn a profit right away? This can also be with a relationship, and it's very important that, it works both ways. It's important to give something enough time and attention to it. And it's also important to kind of cut your losses. If you feel like something, you've truly put attention into it, you're not going to just keep doing it forever. And that includes a relationship. You know what I mean? After a while, you have to ask yourself, okay, what is the point of all of this? Oh, I have my glasses here. I took up, well, I'm going to put them. So if I was just going to say, if you're a sun in Gemini, you may have Mars in Taurus, and it may be, I don't know if I should say a problem, but in some cases it can be a problem where you are so doggedly persistent about something that you just won't let it go, even if it's something that doesn't seem to be working out the way you want it to. And it's great to be steadfast, but at some point it can just be something where you're chasing a dream and you're not really tuned into the reality of the situation. But certainly with the Five of Pentacles, you have to raise your frequency. You have to be at least receptive to something good coming out of whatever it is that you're doing. What crosses you, what is an obstacle for you now, is the Eight of Wands. Even in the outer world, you may feel like there's something that is kind of stagnant. And I think that this is kind of true in general. I mean, some people would say, oh gosh, we just had an eclipse season and all of this stuff is happening. And that's true, that there may be things, a lot of chaos and a lot of things that seem like they're kind of swirling around. But with the Eight of Wands, it's really, to me, connected to a person's goals and their passions. So again, and this is blocking what the Five of Pentacles is creating a blockage with this. So what that suggests to me is that there is something in your belief system, and maybe this is just a temporary thing, or maybe this is something you've always kind of had to struggle with, where you might be pessimistic and you cannot even imagine that things can start to just flow. Like if you look at the Eight of Wands as like, let's say you have an online business and you haven't been getting any sales. But maybe you just started it a month ago and you thought it was just going to go gangbusters, but for whatever reason it didn't happen. Um, try listening, try going on YouTube and listening to videos about manifestation, about even like ones that are Reiki, that can be like energy medicine and those kinds of things for abundance, and see what happens, because um those wands, there's a term, yeah, it's interesting, there's a term in Abraham Hicks and Law of Attraction where they talk about rockets of desire. And that's like everything that we want are like rockets of desire. And it's like birthing these things, but they it's not birthing them, but it's like planting those seeds. And they get birthed through the manifestation process. But you have to even believe that it's possible. If you're so cynical about life and your potential and everything like that, then you're not even going to have those rockets of desire. You're just going to have like negative, ideas about your life. So that's why I say raise your frequency. Oh yeah, the higher message is the Four of Swords. I highly recommend that you take a day with a composition notebook. Is that what they call it? Those little, and Target sells them for like about 60 cents. And I like the wide rule because it's very easy to write, just like when you're in grade school. And they have bright colors too. And you take one of those notebooks, those, like they don't have rings, they're just like composition. Yeah, composition notebooks. And they have like the marble cover, design, but they're in different colors. And go out into nature or into some place that you can be very contemplative and spend the day and just plan for what you want in all areas of your life. Four of Swords is about getting it can be just about like even physical rejuvenation, but it can be about that mental. To me, the number 4 is connected to Saturn. So it's that mental discipline, but also that mental organization. Because Gemini, your thought, you can be very ADD on steroids and your thoughts can be flying around. And it's very important to kind of harness that discipline, one pointedness, so that you're able to not be scattered, because this is a very important time for you to do the things that you need to do. What's coming in? The High Priestess. Be still and know. This is a card of tuning into your higher self, to your higher consciousness, the part of you that's always connected to God and receiving those messages. And because you're ruled by Mercury, your intellect, your mind, your mundane mind may be very strong. You may reject what you consider to be that woo-woo brain because you might say, well, there's no proof, I don't know. And I I feel one thing I wanted to say. Gosh, now I lost my talk about ADD. Now I lost my train of thought. There was something I wanted to say, and I thought it was connected to the Four of Swords. Huh. Oh yeah. When we had the eclipse in Pisces, this was on the 7th of September. It was that Pisces for you is your 10th house of career. So yeah, it could be something connected to that where your career is just like you feel like you're just are losing it for some reason. Maybe it's still hanging on, or but you just feel like it's gone. You need to understand who you are at a higher level, because sometimes we identify with these worldly titles and identities of who we are in the world. And ultimately, those are not who we are. Even as a parent, and I am not a parent in this lifetime, but people who are parents, it's got to be very difficult when their child leaves home, because yeah, you can say you're a parent, but you can't really identify with it as a sense of what you do, or how you operate, because your kid is like 30 years old. How can you do that anymore? So we have to be able to let those things go. And that's what career, the 10th house is your place in the world. You may feel like you don't have a place. Actually, with Neptune in the 10th house, Neptune has gone back into your 10th house. This may exacerbate those feelings where you feel like, I thought that I had finally defined myself after all these years, and now I feel like I'm back to the drawing board. The outcome is the Hierophant. This is a card that is connected to the clergy. So if we look at the High Priestess versus the Hierophant, one is more esoteric and inner, and one is more outer. So the Hierophant would be the external organization of philosophy, spiritual philosophy. Now, what that suggests to me is that this can help you to get your thoughts in order. It's right below that card. And I also want to say that the Four of Swords, this can be even somebody who goes on mental health. What do they call that? Not a mental health day, but like a medical leave or something like that. Like maybe if you have had any kind of job loss or anything like that, it might have been a blessing in disguise. Maybe you were in a place where you were very stressed out, and this is helping you, and you can embrace that. So for some people, this may mean going back to a religion that you are familiar with, that has given you comfort in the past. Or it can be melding the inner and the outer spiritual beliefs. And that can actually help you materially. I really believe that. Because when you are able to look at the bigger picture, then these things, what we call the smaller details of everyday life, I think that they work themselves out, because you're not placing undue importance on them. And that's the key. When you overemphasize the material and neglect the spiritual, which is what this card really can be about, that can adversely affect your life in general. So that's what I have for you, Gemini. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, be it astrology, the tarot, or both, please click on the link below. I hope you have a great October. Take care. Bye.